9.8 times out of 10, she got her foot in the door because she was pretty.
Absolutely.
Now she's at a point where she just has to earn her keep. And yes, there will be people that's going to side eye, question her, is she really worth it, or is she just another pretty face? And
it comes with the territory.
It comes with the territory.
Mm-hmm.
It comes with the territory because you have the flip side of it, or we could say someone who is like a Naomie,
mm-hmm.
who her foot wouldn't even be able to get the big toe in the
mm-hmm.
door if she wanted to be a rapper. Let's just be for real.
Mm-hmm.
Hey y'all, and welcome to bcentrictv. Welcome to bcentrictv. If you have not subscribed to this channel, please be sure to do that. Hey y'all, I'm Nita, and welcome to bcentrictv, where I give commentary, social, and cultural analysis on beauty, hair, wellness, and representation regarding the Black community. If you are new here, welcome, and I hope that you feel encouraged to subscribe to this channel. If you have been here before, welcome back, and I hope you are subscribed, and if not, why not? Why are you not already subscribed? You've been here before. Go ahead and subscribe. But what I want everyone to do as y'all come in is go ahead and like this video. Go ahead and engage. Get this channel growing and going. And now, as y'all can see, I have someone here with me today.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, Miss Ashley. How you doing?
Hey, I'm good. Despite it all.
Despite it all.
BTS coming soon.
We are here. But Miss Ashley is the founder of Handle with Care, where she talks about and deals with holistic wellness to better your health and things along that nature. So I want her to get in, talk about her business a little bit more to my Be-Centric Beauties and Gents so they can become acquainted.
Yes, of course. First of all, thank you so much for having me. I'm honored to be here. I'm a fan of the channel. I think the conversations that you're having are so needed in our community. And you do it with such eloquence and grace.
Oh,
so I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to get to know you, Be-Centric ladies and gents. And like Nita said, my name is Ashley Cox, and I am the owner of Handle with Care Wellness. And it's a platform that encourages our community, specifically Black women and men, to regularly engage in their health-focused ritual and routine. And what that looks like is hair care, it looks like skincare. We get into intentional joy, solo dating, and the whole platform was inspired by my 10-year journey with wellness and just the process of using wellness to step into the grown Ashley, as I like to say. So I'm happy to bring all that I've learned throughout this 10-year journey to your community and for us to get into it.
Well, thank you for being here. So me and Ashley, we met at a business networking mixer, and she told me about what it is that she do. And I was like, oh, I have a YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to collab with you. You come on, talk about your business, and we talk about a subject. And so as she looked at the channel, she saw the topic of pretty privilege. Now, I was going to get into this topic eventually again because it's forever something that's relevant
mm-hmm.
in our lives.
Mm-hmm.
But I wasn't going to touch on it yet. But she came to me with a different perspective and how we can kind of have a different, not so much of a different outlook, but just like help ourselves. Because
mm-hmm.
that's, what her brand is about. So
mm-hmm.
I brought her along here to help y'all. So y'all can,
yes.
find that confidence within yourself. So and it does come at a good time because one of the stories that broke out within the past few weeks or months, I'm not sure how long, is about, you all may know, Miss Naomie Pilula, who is a lawyer out in Zambia. So she, just like everybody else,
mm-hmm.
posted a normal selfie. And it went viral. Usually when you go viral, you're like, yay, but this was not in a good way. So there were I read over 500,000 people leaving negative comments about her looks, her nose, saying that, oh, she can't be real. She got to be AI. And
somebody even commented that she needed to get rhinoplasty, which is plastic surgery for the nose.
Out of line.
Terrible. Mm-hmm.
Out of line. So, that story it's a story. It's sad because you think about like 500,000 people under your post saying negative things, but it's so much resilience in her. You know, what was your outlook on her story when you read about it?
First of all, I define pretty privilege as the ability to benefit from your appearance in a way that can change your life. So think Kim Kardashian, think Naomi Campbell, think Tyra Banks. These are women who had enough pretty privilege and enough work ethic to leverage that and build brands based on how they look and the fact that people wanted to look like them. So I find it ironic that although Naomie Pilula was not born with pretty privilege, and she said this herself, she's now able to reap some of the benefits that are only reserved for certain group of people. She was interviewed by People magazine, a national magazine, and is now known across America as well as in Zambia. Her social media following tripled. And now she has the ability to leverage all the negative attention and positive attention to create a brand about self-love or anything else that she wants to do because people are invested in her story. So I think it's really, really interesting that although she was not born with pretty privilege, she is now reaping the benefits. And it can show you when you have enough confidence and poise, you can shine regardless. So it's a classic example of your haters helping you prosper, I think.
Yeah. Like she could never be unattractive because she's beautiful in the inside. Like her story is a story of resilience. And one of the things that really stood out for me, well, I would say number one is she talked about her emotions and she was honest about her emotions and how she got through it. You know, first seeing it, she was in shock. You know, you see all these people talking about you. And then she said it became disappointment, like more so disappointed in humans. Like, how could you be so mean? Because some of y'all are nasty, like real rude and nasty, just for no reason. And then, you know, she got to a point where she was just like, you know what, you know, whatever. She did get a little sad. She said almost wanted to take it down. But then, you know, I believe she said she spoke with her sister. And then she, you know, got to a point where she was just like, you know, I'm going to paraphrase, of course. Basically, if you got a problem with the way she looked, how she was created, then you yourself have a problem with the creator. And I was like, okay, Naomi. Okay,
she
girl.
snapped.
I was like, yeah, because it's like, at the end of the day, this is how she was made. And she can't help how she was created. You know, a lot of so-called pretty people like to say, well, I can't help that I'm pretty. People just, you know, she can't help how she looks. And And people sense that beauty in her, so she could never be what y'all say is ugly. She could never be that. So her story of resilience really ties into like your brand.
For sure.
You know, and how you help people, you know, find the beauty within themselves. Because it'll exude on the outside.
For sure.
It'll come out. So
I definitely had to, while I was reading the article, I definitely had to ask myself a couple questions. Like, where does Naomi's pride in her features come from? Because it's very apparent the way she carries herself, the way that she speaks, that there is pride there. You know, she does not share the people's hateful perspective of herself. And after reading the story in the article and really going into it, it really seems like her love for herself and the way she looks is personal and has been cultivated over time. She commented that she inherited her nose from her father. And her nose is what most people were speaking about and giving hate to. She says that she inherited her nose from her father and is proud because it reminds her of him. So for me, that was a beautiful way for her to reframe that, reframe what beauty meant to her. Beauty for her means DNA, inheritance, lineage. It doesn't have anything to do with what's considered universal. And that's powerful. Nobody can touch that, you know? So I just felt like her reclaiming what beauty meant to her was just a powerful perspective. And I also asked myself, is it possible to thrive without pretty privilege? And how does Naomi exemplify this? And Naomi, she has a flourishing career as a lawyer, as you mentioned. She has developed her skills and her talents. She is into fashion. Always stays late.
Say that. Like, she dresses
fashion
down.
Game.
And that's
point.
one thing I really liked about her, because people who tend to not be, sometimes, not all people, of course, who are not considered conventionally attractive,
they give up.
Mm-hmm. They fall into that slump. They go out in sweats every single day. Exactly. They don't spruce themselves up.
Exactly.
You know, and I respect that she's like, you know what? I don't care what y'all think. I'm still going to dress. I'm still going to show out. You know,
that pride that I feel in myself, you're going to
see it.
Yes.
You're going to see it.
Yes.
You know, say what you want to say, but
say what you want
I'm about to show y'all my fashions.
Right.
And
I love that.
And she dresses well for her. She actually dresses well for her body type. Yes. Everything looks nice on her. So I really respect her for that. For sure. Not only exuding it in the inside, but showing it out on the outside. That you don't have to be a Saweetie. You can look like me and still dress down and still look nice. Mm-hmm.
So and she even as a lawyer could say, okay, I make my living off of my mind. Mm-hmm. So I don't have to invest in my appearance or worry about how I look. But all of who she is comes from a personal place. Mm-hmm. She has the support of her family. She has developed her skills and her hobbies. And she has a type of personality that is undeniable and has garnered her, I think, over 100,000 followers. Mm-hmm. So I think she's a perfect example that you can thrive without pretty privilege. Mm-hmm. There are plenty of people who are pretty and have nothing else beyond that. And they don't have anything to show for being pretty. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So I think it is, you can thrive without pretty privilege, but you cannot thrive without self-confidence. And Naomie shows that.
Yeah. When we, discuss this and we're brainstorming, you wanted to talk about a bit of your experience with pretty privilege and how you have, what's the word? Is it denounced? You didn't denounce it because you can't denounce it because look at you. You can't escape it. So what would you say? You more so?
I've intentionally reclaimed it for myself.
Gotcha.
I've intentionally changed what it meant for me. Just getting into a little bit of my background. I was born with pretty privilege, by society standards. I was born high yellow, as we call it in the South. My nose is thinner. I have bigger lips, but they're not too big. And although I do have 4C hair, which is on full display, so hey. I grew up in a family where we always were in the beauty salon getting our hair relaxed. Mm-hmm. Every 6 weeks, we were in that chair. You couldn't save us from that hair appointment. We were getting there. You know what I'm saying? So I grew up in a family that was traditionally Southern. And although we did have edge, we presented ourselves in a very modest American dream, like trying to climb that ladder type of way. Mm-hmm. And I think that if I would have stuck to that blueprint that I was given, my friends would say, you had such pretty long hair before you went natural. If I would have stuck to that blueprint, of growing up in the Christian background that I grew up in and accepting life as Ashley Elizabeth Cox, because the name can pass. They don't know if I'm white or black. They don't know.
I don't know. You got the LEE. You know how.
But white
people do it.
They do the EIGH. They do the
you're right. You're right.
They will.
Yeah, but
put a remix on Ashley real.
The Elizabeth will probably have me like, oh, but you know what? That's my mama.
But you never. That's what I'm saying. You can't tell. And I think it was intentional by my family to give me a clean slate. So I can't blame them for it. But it was just, if I would have stuck to that, pretty privilege may have taken me places. If I had really doubled down on what I was given and really stuck to the script, I would have gotten some. Maybe I could have had a brand or something. Who knows? But I'm a rebel. I've always been a rebel. And that showed itself at age 18 when I decided to go natural. It was during the first, the natural hair movement. It was the first one. And I just felt so called to seeing the women, especially my cousins and my aunts, embracing their natural coils. And it was just something about it that I'm like, I want to do that. And nobody could understand why. I didn't grow up that way. I didn't have anybody in my family showing me that. But I just always felt something inside me like, I want to explore that. And I decided to explore my senior year of high school of all times. But I always credit that time, senior year of high school and my freshman year of college, of giving me of the time that I used to develop my sense of humor and a personality. Because I could no longer rest on my laurels of being the traditional pretty light-skinned girl. I had to develop something else, you know? So, you know, I've always been a rebel, and that continued throughout my life. I started growing locks my senior year of college. I always felt most at home outside, and even though I was told that being outside would make you darker and quote unquote that's a negative thing, I didn't care. You know, I'm Nigerian American, Naija for those watching, and I've always, even though I grew up in a very Southern household, I always wanted to know more about being Nigerian because I thought that it was something beautiful and something to be celebrated. And as we know, being African has not always been a popular thing. Within the last 5 years, it's something that has been more normalized. But at a certain point, people were not checking for Africans. So, you know, they were calling us African booty scratchers. You know who you are.
I would say, growing up in the South, that term wasn't always specific to African people. They used to call anyone who was really dark skinned an African booty scratcher.
Really?
Yeah, it was, because it's like basically saying you so black you look like an African. You're an African booty scratcher. So that wasn't really always specific to just Africans. If you were dark enough, like especially if you're very dark skinned, like I'm dark skinned, but I know I'm not on the darkest of the spectrum. But if you were really dark, they still called you that.
Yeah.
You know, kids are cool. Kids are cool to me.
Kids are.
Well, if you know me, my natural hair journey wasn't that deep. It was just like I was wearing weaves and I was like, why I keep putting relaxers in my hair?
Right.
And I'm not even showing my hair.
Right.
One of my good friends, and she was my coworker at that time, she told me she went natural, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try it.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't have to be that deep. For me, it was just something that resonated deeply for me. And I think it had to resonate that deeply for me because everything around me was saying differently. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, just like the other ways that I rebelled against being pretty, you know, exercise for me was all about like getting strong mentally and physically. It wasn't not only about how I looked, you know? So people around me couldn't understand where all of this was coming from. But I think my relationship with pretty privilege really came to a head about 1.5 years ago when I cut off my locks. And my locks were something that was my signature. They were down here, they were waist length, they were thick and pretty, and they were really well maintained. And it's not a look, now it's more popular, but when I locked my hair, locks were something that was reserved for the masculine black woman who didn't want to do her hair. So my mom was like, why do you want to lock your hair? Like, why? But at that point, she's like, you're just different, you know?
Yeah.
You're just different.
You get a lot of that when you decide to lock your hair.
Right. So, you know, it was something that had been a source of like respect and like people admired it. But I felt this deep urging, like, this is all they see with me. I don't feel like people comment on anything else when it comes to my appearance but my locks. And it's time for them to go. And I do actually have a video on my channel, handled with Care Wellness, detailing that journey of getting to the point where I finally cut my locks. It's called Rebirth. Go check that out. But I think subconsciously I knew that when I cut my locks, I would be divesting from pretty privilege because although locks are kinky, they still fit the mainstream beauty standard because it's long hair. And you can get, I definitely think so. And you can get away with it if they're polished.
Yeah.
If you keep them retwisted, if you put them in pretty styles like yours, you can get away with
People do shun freeform
or
wigs or when you're just simply in between retwists. I will say that. They'll look at you like, when you gonna get your hair done?
But as long as it's done, you're good.
It's done.
It's
done.
So it's like, I think subconsciously I knew by rocking my natural fro that I would no longer have the benefits of pretty privilege like that. And I was terrified of that. I was terrified of losing that. I was terrified of not having the shield of my locks. Like my whole life I had been told that my hair was difficult. It was hard to deal with. It didn't fit the rest of my look. So getting to the point where I finally cut my locks was a really big point of courage for me. But I finally did it, and I feel so much freer now. And I think all in all, my relationship to pretty privilege has shown me that I've intentionally walked the other way. I have done the opposite of everything that I was supposed to. But I think because of that, I have so much more confidence and self-awareness as a person, you know?
Yeah, I definitely do understand that. It comes down to not needing validation from other people. That's really what it comes down to. My experiences are different. I talk about it on and off the channel. I'm not going all into depth right now. But because I wouldn't necessarily, it's like the video you watch, it's like I'm pretty, but I don't experience pretty privilege. But it's like I do, but on a certain scale. You know, I always tell people, like, of course, it's going to matter geographically. I like I said in one of my videos, if I was lived in LA, child, please, nobody would be checking for me.
But me neither, though.
And you either. You know, they got a certain type out there. They got a certain type, you know, but we live in the South, so it's a little different. You know, their attraction is different. But when we speak on pretty privilege, typically we speak it on an overall, and when I speak on it overall, like, as far as I talked about it in the pretty privilege video, like, is it a misnomer? And when I think about it, I don't think it's necessarily a misnomer, but I do think it falls within the umbrella of the light skin privilege, the featureism, and the texturism.
For sure.
Because typically, if you truly experience pretty privilege on a larger scale, as socially, society-wise, just not in your neighborhood, you're typically going to have one or two or all of those things that are going to qualify you to be pretty, you know.
For sure.
And that's what it is. And so I know you talk about divesting from pretty privilege, and maybe it's just like you just no longer seek validation from other people because you're still going to be pretty. You know what I'm saying? So do you feel like Saweetie, she's in the press now talking about what she called pretty punishment,
which is very interesting. I've never heard it termed like that.
Yeah, I never heard it termed.
I don't think they understand how many doors, how many rejections, how many times people have counted you out.
I saw it on TikTok. They were like, they talk about pretty privilege, but they don't talk about pretty punishment. There's been so many times I've just been counted out, and I know that it's behind animosity. I know it's because of a hidden agenda, but it makes me work harder. But this has happened like my whole life. So it's like what I deal with in the industry is just different face, same case.
I have heard women who claim to be pretty say that, oh, I'm pretty, but I get a lot of backlash and things like that because I'm pretty. Now, my perspective on it is that she is very pretty, but 9.8 times out of 10, she got her foot in the door because she was pretty.
Absolutely.
Now she's at a point where she just has to earn her keep. And yes, there will be people that's going to side eye, question her, you know, is she really worth it, or is she just another pretty face? And
it comes with the territory.
It comes with the territory. It comes with the territory because you have the flip side of it, or we could say someone who is like a Naomie, who her foot wouldn't even be able to get the big toe in the door if she wanted to be a rapper. Let's just be for real. So you got that opportunity, mostly probably because of how you look, and you just got a point where you're just going to have to earn your keep. And that's kind of how I feel about her story and a lot of people who are deemed pretty. Like, you can't just sit back and lean on your prettiness because then you'll fall into the stereotype of you being a bimbo.
Absolutely.
So,
and shout out to Saweetie. She's a marketer to her core. She can sell anything. So shout out to her. All the respect, but definitely I agree. You just have to eat that. Because like you said, some people don't have that privilege of even being in the room. Right. And when Saweetie started, you know, she's not where she is now when it comes to rapping. So she's had to develop, but she was given that opportunity to develop because we found her aesthetically pleasing, you know? So for sure.
Well, that, and she slid on that song.
The first one,
on the beat on Kaya the icy
girl. Yes, she did slide on that. I agree.
She slid on that song.
I agree.
But I also think a lot of other things with her. Well, a lot of people feel like she can't rap. I do believe she can rap. I feel like there's a lot of women out here can't rap. But another thing with her that comes to my mind is probably why partially she might be getting a little backlash from people is because she changed her aesthetic. Saweetie, when she came out with that Icy, she was like the bougie, pretty, sophisticated kind of look. It was she hadn't even had her boobs or her BBL,
right.
and then it's like she turned into ghetto fabulous.
Yeah.
So now you're blending in with the other light skinned Cardi B's, the Nicki Minaj's, and other people who doing the long nails, who have the BBLs. You're blending in with them, and I feel like to me that's where she dropped the ball, even down to how she raps. Now, this may not have nothing to do with Pretty Privilege, but I think it plays a role in probably why her career maybe in the rapping space is not going where it is. But she started to lean on the ghetto fabulous look, and to me, I feel like that's where it kind of people is like,
interesting. That's
who
very
are
true.
you?
I didn't think about that.
I don't think it's all that people want to punish her for being pretty. It's just like, girl, you changed your whole image. And there's nothing wrong with it to a degree, but you changed it to blend in with the other BBL girls.
That's an interesting perspective. And I do think also she's not even talking about the reception from the public. She's also talking about behind the scenes. Because I'm sure it's a boys club, and I'm sure they're enforcing things and doing a lot of things that we don't see. So I think a lot of people are thinking she's talking about her career from our perspective, from what we can see, the public view. But there's a lot of things that goes on in the industry that we don't see.
I'm pretty sure there's women behind the scenes that's just looking at her like, well, and it's like, is it cool for them to be mean to her or anything? But it's also like, yeah, sweetie, you're going to have to prove yourself a little bit because we got 100 other girls with a pretty face. What's different about you?
I agree.
What's different about you? But she's still here and she's still relevant. And I like Sweetie.
I do too.
I like her. I don't like the hate she gets for her rapping. I don't think she's that bad.
I think Sweetie is a hard worker.
Yeah.
And you can't make it without that, period.
Yeah.
She wouldn't even still be here if she
her,
couldn't
but
work hard.
I think there's a lot more into it, whether it's from the public and behind the scenes in the industry.
For sure.
So, there was an article, I don't remember the young lady, The Downside of Pretty Privilege.
Oh, yes. The article she talked about, there was a young lady who came out on Reddit. Y'all may have seen that thread where she was talking about how she lost her pretty privilege because she gained weight after taking some medication, and how she just noticed that people did not give her the same reception. She felt ignored, but it helped her develop empathy for people who looked differently. And eventually, she got the weight off and started reaping the benefits of pretty privilege again. But it changed her because now she's like, oh, you like me because I look a certain way. And I think that is a great segue into the fact that for me, I feel like people overestimate the benefits that come with pretty privilege for the average person on an everyday basis. I think the things that come with pretty privilege for the average person is more attention and the benefit of the doubt. The benefit of the doubt being because people are like, oh, you're this and that. Human beings like to assign traits to people who look a certain way. We all know that. It's called the halo effect. But the flip side of that is that people also may assume that you don't have a mind. You can't think.
That's the horns effect.
You know what I'm saying? There's a flip side to the halo effect. And also the attention that is given to pretty people does not always come from a positive place. A lot of that attention is based and rooted in lust. It's not love. It's not healthy validation. It's definitely not respect. And for me, as someone who grew up introverted, someone who grew up quieter, and has always seen the world differently, a lot of times that attention felt like a disruption to my life. I'm just walking to the store and I'm trying to just go get something, and you're honking at me. I find that very disrespectful. I don't like that. And I would tell men that. I would tell them to stop. Don't honk at me, because that, when you're behind me honking at me, that scares me first off. And then it makes me feel like a piece of meat. So I think a lot of times people They assume that you get all these benefits, and that may be true for some people who are willing to leverage that pretty privilege into a brand to change their life. But a lot of the attention that comes with that life, it can come from a very unhealthy place.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that does need to be acknowledged.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can definitely agree. But you brave, girl, because I just keep moving. I ain't stopping nobody.
But that's what I'm saying. I've always been a rebel, though.
I walk away because these niggas crazy. I ain't got to stop for them.
That's what I'm saying. I've always been a rebel because it's like, who do you think you are honking your horn at me? Like somebody taught you that and it's not right. I don't stop everybody, but the 1 or 2 times that I was really upset, I was like, you're not going to honk at me. And one dude, I remember, he was like, all right, sis, I'm sorry.
I start walking faster because these niggas crazy.
He was like, all right, sis, I'm sorry.
Okay, Ashley, so we talked about Naomie. We talked about the situation with Saweetie. But one of the main important things that we have to realize when it does come to being pretty or considered pretty is that it's what you are, internally, how you feel in the inside. So a lot of your brand is about creating rituals and different things along that nature to exude that, to increase that inner beauty, to exude that external beauty. Mm-hmm. So let's get into, the rituals that you do and that you promote and that you help your clients attain. So, if you want to tap on what a ritual is exactly, that would help because how some people might take that.
And I understand that, and we're not going to get woo-woo about it. When I say ritual, a ritual is a repeated series of actions that change your internal and external way of being, and you can't have rituals without self-love. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go into that a little bit first. We're going to start there. And I love this conversation and the situation with Naomie because she exemplifies self-love so well. And the self-love that she has for herself, you can tell that it's been built with time and energy. And she's been doing a lot of inner work. Mm-hmm. You can tell that with the poise that she had under fire, right? So I really believe that the only remedy for the self-hate that we get from the hierarchy of beauty is a regular self-love and self-care practice. Without that, you won't have that groundedness when something like that happens that can shake you to your core and destroy you, as Naomie said. So what is self-love? Because in today's society, we hear this word a lot. It's thrown around a lot. And I know it can seem a little abstract. What does that mean when we're talking about self-love? So self-love is defined as regard for one's own well-being and happiness. So regard for one's own well-being and happiness. As a woman, that is a revolutionary sentiment. That is a revolutionary act to regard yourself first. Mm-hmm. We're taught from young girls to take care of everybody. And if we're not taking care of everybody and we're not depleting ourselves, we don't feel empty. We don't feel like we're doing what we're supposed to do. So self-love is an intentional rebellion against depleting yourself and tending to your own needs last. And you can't have that self-love without discipline and regular practice. And that's where the rituals come in. Mm-hmm. That's where the routine and the discipline come in because you are what you do every day. Right. So what if you want to get more into self-love, you hear self-love and you wonder where you are. I'll start with myself. I know I have self-love because I truly believe that I'm beautiful. All of me. I feel comfortable in my body. I love my skin, my hair, my complex personality. And that's true and real and rare in this world that is constantly telling us that we're not enough. So that's been cultivated over a series of 10 years and a series of the rituals and routines that I have incorporated into my life. So if you are wondering, how do I measure where I am? You want to have a little bit of the sauce. You want that confidence when you walking into any room to know that no matter how I look or if I'm not even feeling my best, I believe in me because I have that foundation. These are some questions that you can ask yourself. One question is, can you enjoy your own company? When you go out on a solo date, do you feel secure in sitting at a table alone and ordering by yourself? Because people like to ask, only you? Like,
Just
that's
me.
all I need.
Just
Only me.
Right. That's all you need.
I bring everything I need. Just me, Another question is, would your 8-year-old self consider your current self a cool person? If they came back in a time machine and y'all met face to face, what would you think about who you are, truly? Another question, are you mentally and energetically free from the lie of Western beauty because you accept yourself? Self-acceptance is a big part of this. Being able to accept the little quirks about yourself, your smile or the things that are not necessarily perfect, but what make you you. And the last question that I have is, how comfortable are you being your authentic self wherever you go? That's the good, the bad, and the ugly, because all of you is not polished, but that unpolished part deserves to live as well. So these are some questions that will be on the screen that you can refer to if you want to get a measure of where you are in your self-love journey. So all of this is done to have more main character energy. That was a trend a couple years ago on social media where everyone was talking about being that girl, and a lot of people talked about the outfits and the hairstyles and the makeup, but you can't be that girl if the foundation isn't solid. And the only way to be that girl is to work on those rituals and routines so you can become that solid. That looks like getting into those wash day routines, getting into your morning and nighttime routines, having a regular movement practice where you are moving your body. And it doesn't matter what it is. It could be yoga, it could be weight training, it could be Pilates, whatever works for you, but moving regularly. And then solo dating. That's something that our grandmothers didn't do because they couldn't do. But
I
now
definitely jumped on the bandwagon with that very early. My first time hanging out by myself, going out to eat by myself, I was 19.
Okay, so you started early with it.
Because I was like, sometimes it's like, why do I have to wait on somebody to do everything? I've gone to concerts by myself.
Yes.
I've done many things by myself because I truly enjoy my company. Because there's times when I would actually invite someone else, and I was like,
you didn't have a good time.
I was like, I should just went by myself.
You didn't have a good time.
I should just went by myself because their energy is not where I needed to
Right.
be. They don't even enjoy this the way I enjoy it. So
Exactly.
I'm just going to take it upon myself. And you all, these are really good journal prompts. If you journal, if you don't, it would be a good thing to start doing because it really helps you reflect and look back at yourself. You can look at it, reread it, a year from now, and you'll see your growth, or you should see your growth within yourself. So these are really good. I will definitely put these in the descriptions as you see them. They'll be on the screen as well.
For sure.
So,
and speaking of journaling, that is a perfect ritual or routine that helps you get into understanding how you feel. In this world we're so busy as adults that a lot of times we don't even know where we stand. We don't even know how we feel on any given day. So that journal, getting into that journal every day really makes you solid into, okay, how do I feel about what happened to me? How do I feel in relation to the situation? And it gives you a level of peace when you're walking into that new day because you've worked out all of that, the maze of the thoughts that have been in your mind from the previous day. So it's kind of like a clearing out, And talking about ritual and routine, some of the rituals and routines that I have had on Fridays of last year, I used to do a hair, nails, and skin day. I would get into that scalp because your scalp needs to be moisturized for sure. I would make sure my nails were done. I would exfoliate my skin. And a ritual that I've gotten into this year is actually rejoining a gym because it's nothing like being around people who are really committed to growth and moving their body, I definitely have noticed just an increase in my energy and my motivation for working out now because I'm surrounded by people who are on the same wavelength. So yeah, that's what ritual and routine is, and that's what Handle with Care inspires us to do, even as busy adults in 2025.
Yes. That gym one is a big one because I really, even though, I have one where I stay, most of the time I'm in there by myself, but being amongst other people who are physically fit or trying to get physically fit, it can build like a friendly, healthy competition. If you see them, doing something, you like, oh, I want to try that. And so that can really, help. And Ashley, you all make sure you all follow her. I'll have all of her handles down at the bottom, so be sure to check her out and follow her.
So now that we've talked about self-love and we've decided that ritual is the direct result of building self-love and everybody needs that ritual and routine to cultivate it, I think it's time for us to get into our favorite self-care Black-owned products of 2025. It's so easy to talk about what we still need to do, but I think we've had so much progress because 10 years ago, we weren't even talking about self-love. So we've definitely come a long way. And I, as someone who enjoys self-care and wellness, and that's definitely my bag, I definitely have seen some innovation happen in the field. And I feel like it's time for us to highlight it. So we are going to get into our top 5 Black-owned innovative self-care products. I'm going to start us off. The first product, it has revolutionized the blow drying process. You may have heard of it. Heck, you may even own one. It is the one and only Rev Air hair dryer. And this hair dryer, it uses suction technology in a way that is different from a regular blow dryer. So you don't get the yanking and the pulling and the heat. We've all been in the blow dry chair or blow drying ourselves, where it's just a painful process because of all the heat and the yanking. And with this Rev Air blow dryer, all of that is gone, So it invites ease into the detangling process. And for that, it has definitely made my top five innovative self-care products. So that's my first one. My second one, cutting my locks and becoming natural again has definitely been a transition for me that I needed. And whenever I've been natural, protective styles are always my go-to because it's nothing like having that protective style to give yourself a break from the maintenance of natural hair, But a problem I've always seen with protective styles is keeping your hair clean, keeping your scalp clean in the midst of that protective style. So this next product addresses that head on. It's called Girl and Hair ACV Curl Cloud. And what it does, it combines a rice product and apple cider vinegar to restore your hair's natural pH while you rock your braids all summer long. And I've been looking for a product like that because I would love to both have the care and convenience as I have our protective styles. So Girl and Hair's Curl Cloud is on my top 5 for sure. The next product needs no introduction. Everybody knows Fenty Beauty. The one and only Rihanna has introduced this brand that has become a staple for us in our makeup routines, our clothing, our hair. And in 2025, offering 40 Shades as a makeup brand is something that's expected. But when Fenty Beauty launched in 2017, it was unheard of. And I think that is something that we should acknowledge because as a Black-owned brand, Fenty Beauty not only, said that they were committed to inclusion and diversity, they walked the talk by bringing those brands in, those shades in the makeup category, but also bringing us cruelty-free practices, body positivity, and a commitment to authenticity. I think Rihanna is the only billionaire that I know who will regularly rock a do-rag and a grill and be accepted wherever she goes. So shout out to Fenty Beauty as my number 3 on my top 5. And the next product that I have, Nasara Organics Protein Potion, is always sold out on TikTok, and the girls are always talking about how they missed the next lunch. And for that, it is the 4th product on my list of top 5. So this protein poo potion is one of the products that I am highlighting because it has revolutionized the pre-poo process. And it is a dairy-based formula that is the brainchild of Kai Elijah, who is a 20-year hair industry veteran and is called the plastic surgeon of hair. And this top 5 makes the list because it uses ingredients that directly targets our length retention, which is a big issue in the Black community. You know, that's something that we all would like to see more of is, you know, less breakage and more length retention. So for that, it is top 4 of my top 5 on innovative Black-owned products. My last thing that I'm going to mention is not even a Black-owned product, but a social media platform that we all use. I talked about having locks, and I talked about my transition, and Pinterest has revolutionized my transition to having natural hair because it has allowed me to see styles that I would not normally. And it's especially allowed me to tap into, you know, my African ancestry, because a lot of the styles, the ancient African styles that I see there, I knew nothing about before. So that is my top 5 Black-owned innovative products, and I'm going to turn it over to you, Anita.
So when you asked me this question, I immediately was like, my top 5. And for me, I want to always speak on products that I actually use and that I actually like. I've used so many Black-owned products throughout the years. Some were okay, some didn't work out for me. But I don't actually have 5 right now, because right now these are my top 3 that I feel like has been consistent and has actually, you know, worked for me, that I actually do like, whether it's the nature of their business or the product itself. So for me, my number 1 is, well, not number 1, it's not in no particular order, but first one is the lip bar.
Okay.
I really love the lip bar.
I'm
the
familiar.
owner, I believe her name is Mel, either Melanie, Melissa. Sorry if I get it wrong, but I really love her brand. I like how innovative and how she took a leap on starting a business just based off of lipstick. And I'm big on lipstick. Anybody who knows me know you're never going to see me walking around with dry lips. If I have dry lips, something ain't right. So I'm big on lip. I love different lip colors. I love that she was innovative in making sure that it was pigmented for everyone, even down to the red. She has different shades of reds that goes with everyone's complexion. My favorite is Boss Lady. Okay. I'm not wearing it now, but it's almost similar to this color if you can see it. But so I really appreciate her brand, her starting out on Shark Tank, believing in herself and continuing to push, because if I'm not mistaken, they were like, well, how are you going to make a business out of just selling lipstick? Well, she did.
She absolutely did.
She did, and she has expanded it. So she expanded it to makeup, coming up with innovative ways to, I remember during the pandemic, she had this kit that was like a 7-minute makeup kit where it had your powder palette with your blush, your contour and everything you needed, and a makeup brush that was connected to the serum, the foundation, and you would just put it on. So it was like for quick makeup. You put it on, so you know, just like if you're going to work and you don't have a lot of time. So I really thought that was really innovative in when she did that. So I really can appreciate her brand, and it actually works, and I still use it. My second one is Talia Waji. she is one of the pioneers when it comes to Black natural hair. She's really was one of the first to step out on the scene when it came to creating products specifically to our hair. She has this mist that I really love. It's a leave-in conditioner, and it gives your hair that tingly feeling. I really love that. Keeps your hair soft. So her products have always been consistent. She also does, I believe she still does natural hair tours and natural hair shows. So, kind of like what Bronner Brothers does.
I've heard of, yes,
but with the
I've heard
natural
of her
hair.
shows.
So she's just one of the pioneers for, she walks so a lot of people can follow behind her. So, and my last one, because I only have 3 right now, because I told y'all these are the people that I'm using now and that I have used throughout the years that I believe have always been consistent. And this is an OG, and it's Design Essentials. Design Essentials,
which I didn't know was Black owned.
They have been, they are still Black owned.
Wow, I did not know that. Because we used to use that back in the
day. And at one point, you can only purchase it if you were a cosmetologist. Them and Dudley. I think Dudley is still...
I've never heard of Dudley.
You don't remember Dudley? Dudley was just like...
Was that the hair grease?
They have hair grease, shampoo, all of that. Yeah, so, but you had to be a licensed cosmetologist to buy their products. I think you still have to be licensed to buy Dudley if Dudley is even sold. I'm not even sure. I would have to look that up. But Design Essentials eventually... they still use it in salons, but now you can go and buy it in the hair stores, in the beauty supply stores. So that was a great thing. And to me, their products just have always worked for me. It's just always been consistent. They've been able to be innovative in the things that they create, in the type of conditioners and things along that nature. I did have another one on the list, but then I read that they were actually acquired. But
can we get into that a little bit?
Yeah.
So how do you feel when a Black-owned business gets to a point where they can be acquired? Because by business standards, that's the whole point. You build a business to be big enough to where if you want to step away and enjoy the fruits of your labor, you can do that. So I understand why it means so much for Black people, for us to keep our businesses, to build that legacy. But how do you feel when a Black-owned founder may say, I built this business, I've done so much with this business, but I feel like I could give it over to this bigger brand so they can expand it. What's your take on that?
I think it's all in the intentions behind it. Like, some are maybe forced to do that for financial reasons. I don't think it, and some may start their business and say, hey, I do want to expand and I need this acquisition to happen. But I do think some businesses, because of the financial aspect and how much it really takes to push your product, to shelve your products in these stores, a lot of them just do not have the financial capacity. So it's almost like in order to keep the brand going and not lose their entire dream, that's what they have to do. If your goal was to just get in the business and sell it, I mean, that's your business. That's your right if that's what you want to do. It's like I'm not going to say I don't feel the type of way, but it would be great to have legacy brands that we can still say, just like Design, after all these decades,
Camille
are still
Rose,
Black owned. Lusters, are they still the pink lotion that we used to put in our hair? They're still Black owned. So it's great to be able to look back and see that everybody's not, I don't want to say selling out per se, but just selling to the masses, to Procter & Gamble, because that's the big one that always ends up buying product. But for some businesses, I definitely understand. So that's why it was a little difficult, because I was like, dang, a lot of people have gotten acquired. And also my other reason why I don't have necessarily a top 5 is because I had to, in a sense, calm down on my spending. When it came to that, I was becoming I was like, oh, I got to get this brand, I got to get that brand, and I was becoming a hair supply, beauty supply hoarder. And it also became a little pricey. While I understand the reason some Black businesses have to price point their things a little on the higher because of production and things along that nature, sometimes I got to a point where I was like, well, I got to do things that work for me. I don't want to keep buying products just because they're Black and they're not working. And also, I don't really want to buy a $20 shampoo.
Right.
Like it. It's almost unnecessary. It's like,
well, that depends on the brand, and that
depends on the
depends on
person.
why they priced it to that price. I can't necessarily say because I don't want to spend $20, it shouldn't be priced $20.
Yeah.
Some of the ingredients may warrant that.
This is not me telling y'all what to do. You buy
Right.
what you want.
Right.
But for me and where I'm at,
Right.
I don't want to buy $20 shampoo,
For sure.
$30 shampoo.
And that's your right, for sure.
And so and I had to kind of get out of that. Like, well, I just want to make sure I'm supporting. I just figured there are other ways for me to support. I still, if you have your brands and then that's where you have the price point there and you have a market for it, sure. But I do want some Black owned brands, not even just in hair care and beauty, to also be mindful of their market, because that's sometimes why some businesses I do feel like don't always last, because people don't understand their market. You got to understand, okay, your market is Black women. How much do Black women make? How much do they spend? We spend a lot. And we're the number one consumer. We spend a lot.
Beauty, yeah.
But also considering, price points. There's just price points. There's different cost analysis and things there's just different ways and different things in business that you can kind of figure out where you want your product to land. But if you want your product to cost whatever it costs, do what you need to do.
I hear you. I understand. Like, it can get to be kind of over consuming can become your regular practice.
Mm-hmm.
And then before you know it, your budget is out the
I was like, your
budget is out the window.
I was like, whoa.
But what I love is that there are so many options.
Yeah.
They're at different price points that exist nowadays that did not 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And that's why I wanted to highlight, because we do have options for people who are price conscious, for people who don't really care, who may only care about the quality and may only care that it works and the impact. Right. So I just feel like there's so much for everybody out there, and I wanted to celebrate that with that.
I definitely do appreciate the variety and people coming into their own and creating their businesses and doing what they need to do.
Keep going, y'all. Keep going.
Do what you got to do for
self. Sure. And the whole point of this is to make natural hair more fun. The whole point of it is to ask ourselves how we can invite more ease into the process of taking care of ourselves on a daily basis. So y'all chew that over and definitely comment down below like your favorite products.
Yeah, we definitely want to hear from you. All right, so Ashley, we've talked about a lot of things. We talked about Miss Naomie. We talked about Saweetie's situation. We talked about the young lady who lost her pretty privilege from gaining weight and got it back. And we also talked about how we can enhance our inner beauty so it can exude on the outside. So what are some of your final thoughts and some things that you want to leave the viewers with? Also, be sure to, let them know where they can find you.
Where they can find, of course, I will do that. All in all, from this situation, for me, I took that the world will always try to define who you are and how people should feel about you. And people will always have opinions about who you are and how you look. But it comes down to who you think you are and what you do on a daily basis to reinforce that. Naomie exemplified that, and the stories that we talked about also exemplified that. And I know from my own experience that if you really pour into yourself and into your body, it will give it back tenfold. So if you are in need of more help with your ritual and routine and your wellness in general, you need to be inspired. You need that push in that community. Follow me everywhere at Handle with Care Wellness. That's Handle with a D with Care Wellness. And we're going to get all the way into it.
Thank you so much, Miss Ashley. So I am going to leave a link to all of her social medias. You'll probably see it across the screen, but also I'll leave the link so you can just click on it and go there. And be sure to follow her. She also has a YouTube channel.
Yes.
So be sure to subscribe to her channel as well. So as you know, here at BCentric, one of the biggest things that why I created this channel was to enhance and to expand the standard of beauty. Because there's more than one way of being. So even though we talk about this subject, I know some people feel like it's not important, but it is very much an important topic because it affects all of us, whether we're on the receiving end or whether we're on the one that get the backlash. However, at the end of the day, like Miss Ashley has stated, it's about you being uniquely who you are, being authentic to yourself. And that's what we want all of you all to do here. So you all know what to do. Go ahead and like, go ahead and subscribe, and leave a comment. Let us know some of your rituals. Let us know some of your favorite Black-owned brands. Let us know your thoughts on Pretty Privilege. What is your experience? Do you receive it? Do you not feel like you receive it? Whatever it is, leave a comment below, share the video, and until next time, be beautiful, be Black, be bold with it, and be you always.
Always.